Venom, directed by Ruben Fleischer, was the film that came out back in October of 2018 that I didn't go see, like many of the films that I didn't see. And knowing that how a lot of people really felt about this movie, I bet half of you want to freaking kill me that, yes, I would have probably said I still have not seen Mary Poppins, Into the Spider-Verse, or even Aquaman. And yet I've seen Venom. I mean, I still also saw another film that I'm going to be reviewing next, so hey, it's not all that bad. This is weird now that I've seen this. I never honestly thought I'd see it. I'm going to be honest, when it first came out, the main reason I didn't want to go see it was mainly because of reviews, but I just didn't go see it because I was so busy with other things that I was doing. And now that I've seen it, I can positively say, yeah, this probably would have been, if I ever made a top 5 worst or disappointing films of the year, it would definitely be my #1 pick. Venom was a pretty big mess. There's no other way to put it. I mean, I'll admit, this is one of my first days of the year, so as usual, like, I'm thinking all over again and starting over how I can do it, so I'm a little nervous, but honestly, even in general, if I was perfectly prepared and knowing what to do, I don't think there'd be much to talk about. This film was pretty damn disappointing for sure, and there was a lot of issues. And it's weird because at the same time, despite most of the people agreeing probably with this opinion, what I'm saying, and a lot of people agreeing it was a mess, there's a lot of people that know that absolutely love the film, and some even crazy ones that I met for the first time this year in my new town in the school. They absolutely thought it was one of the greatest movies ever, even giving it a 10 out of 10. That there's not really much to talk about, really, because the whole movie is really one confusing, very basic, by-the-numbers, average Sony mess. As weird as that sounds, it's almost the perfect film to explain it, was another one that even included him himself, Spider-Man 3. As bad, in my defense, I do think, defending this film a little bit, it is a little better than that film. I really did not like Spider-Man 3. I'll give a perfect example of what I thought about the movie, with a perfect example of what got it wrong with the very intro of the film. The very intro of the film is, you know, your basic setup of understanding who Eddie Brock is. I don't have to spoil that for you guys. You know who Eddie Brock is. If you watch this movie, you probably care about Venom, so you know who that is. How he's a very good journalist, how he's a very known and well-respected one, and always is out cracking down corruption, which is something very honorable, and something, you know, speaking about at the times what's going on. So that's something very interesting to start with, and how he's seeming to have found this corrupt, big, clear influence to Elon Musk guy villain, which we've seen already before many times already as our first issue, that it could be an obvious example of a bad villain, or at least a very boring villain that the Marvel movies, for example, suffered for many years. That he seems to have no evidence, or at least there's not evidence that he can personally release, because this guy who he's looking to find any corruption for is someone his wife works for, and things don't go very well, and they end up having a divorce. Now, that's all fine and dandy. Like, there should be no problem with that. The problem is the next couple of minutes of the movie seems to already tell everything we already got from the first 10 minutes of the film. They do the setup perfectly, and this is what I felt throughout the whole movie, that there's stuff that seems to be added in for what a lot of film critics here call fat, or fluff, that there's no reason for it to be there. It's just wasting time that we can do for other stuff in the story, or just adding more to the runtime. And that's what I felt a lot with the first 10 minutes of the film, because literally the next, like, 5 minutes of the other part of the movie explains absolutely everything I learned, and even element in a more clever way. And that's what it felt like. I was like, whoa, like, this already said everything I learned earlier, and even better. What was the point of all this? And that's what I feel like throughout the whole movie. That explanation of the analyzation of the beginning is what I felt exactly throughout the rest of the movie. Not also to add to the very mediocre characters, or very, I don't even want to say bad writing, because I don't like the acting, because especially I will give one thing, credit to this film, the performance is Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy is Venom. It's like, even despite this movie being disappointing, if they ever made a movie that just had not much of a mess of a story and a plot, he would have still kicked ass, as usual. Tom Hardy's an amazing actor, and there was no way he was going to mess this one up. That was probably, without a doubt, to praise this movie real quick, one of the best parts of the film, him with Venom itself. That was probably the best part. You know, their interactions with them, trying to deal with this new power that he has, and trying to do good with something that clearly is the very, I guess, not so good of it, to say it nicely. He wants to do some horrible things. And Eddie Brock obviously doesn't want that. He's, from the beginning, has been shown as a hero, so it's this interesting conflict of him trying to teach him to do the good. Which, once again, will come to a big problem that I'll mention in a couple of minutes, and then we get into the bad characters. Or the bad writing, really, for the characters. The villain, completely mediocre by the end. I did not care for him at all. Once again, how I explained from the beginning, it could have been a very interesting villain, because I don't want to make it sound like a corrupt, businessman can ever be boring, because it seems like that seems to be the big meme for filmmaking nowadays, or the big, cliche that, oh, the corrupt businessman that only cares about money and greed and everything is a lie and he'll do anything to get that power. There was a clear potential for this. The amazing performances with people from, like Tom Hardy, almost called him Eddie Brock, the character name. The incredible interactions with him, with his character, and Venom's. And a lot of stuff like that throughout almost a lot of the movie, if it was only there a little more, could have honestly saved the whole film. And that's the sadness that I felt throughout and the disappointment. There was a clear potential for it, and they completely missed it. And especially, once again, with the characters, with the bad villain, my least favorite part of the film that I definitely want to talk about is what especially happens at the end, which I really think messes this film up. A lot of the stuff, like I said, is a mess, and it's also completely rushed. Things are completely missed or cut out that even I once read a couple of articles hearing that Tom Hardy's favorite parts of the movie was completely cut out, and there was a lot of reshoots and a lot of editing, a lot of messy editing going throughout the making of the film. The very ending of, as much as I praised earlier ironically about Tom Hardy's performance and his Eddie Brock's interactions with the Venom character, definitely one of the lowest for me, weakest parts of this film is how it's all concluded at the end. The whole way, remember how I talked about their struggle of trying to be good and not evil? It's an interesting struggle. The whole way they end up concluding, how it all gets resolved, I'm not going to spoil it because once again, I don't like spoiling the whole movie, is so quick and so random and made no sense of why the character would do it, that it almost messed up the whole middle part of the movie for me, and almost killed off the whole movie, really. Not just in the middle, like the whole movie almost made no sense. You swear that so much was cut out of this film that clearly could have explained what was happening, because they were so obsessed with wanting to do, which I'll admit could be fun, cool action scenes, a lot of action, Venom, always at Venom as much as possible, a lot of funny moments with Eddie Brock and Venom, the love story, which honestly even falls a bit mediocre. It's a whole mess. Things make no sense, things feel messy, things feel missing, and a lot of parts just feel lazy. Even with the action scene, honestly, that I saw from one of my favorite reviewers, go check him out, Chris Tuckman, he's an amazing channel. The action scenes feel very bland and very disappointing, which is ironically probably what most people would probably be most hyped about. They don't show creative ways of how they work together, for example, to obviously already clearly do trying to have this clash of good and evil, how they can work together maybe with Venom's very violent and brutal abilities and Eddie's kind of more understanding and caring power, which they did show in one scene, but only that one scene of the movie. You'll understand it once you see it. It's a whole mess. I don't want to ramble on too much. It's just, Venom, to conclude it, was a very disappointing film with many, many bland moments, a clear need to not have its potential fully taken, and with very disappointing characters, good performances, but that's pretty much it, all you could really go for. Tom Hardy is pretty much only the saving grace of this movie. I'm going to give Venom a 6 out of 10. It's still a movie you could watch. It's not terrible, admittedly, as much as I made it sound. It's not the worst movie in the world. There's still, like I said, the action scenes, as blunt as it could be, are still kind of fun. Tom Hardy, once again, his performance is amazing. He really saves a lot for this film. It's not horribly directed. There's some nice shots, and it looks fine, and that's really what barely saves the film. I hope you all enjoyed the review. As always, I'm really happy this is my first review of the year, or one of them, unless the other one goes up first, which I'd be glad. I wouldn't mind, honestly. I don't care. I'm also having a lot of other stuff going up this year, guys. Be excited for that. I honestly have so many things I can't wait to do that I'm not going to talk about in this one because I don't want to spoil it. And as always, have a great night, because I'm pretty sure it's like 3 in the morning as we're doing this, but I don't care. I love doing this stuff. See you guys.